from a long line of strong and strong-willed women. At a family reunion many years ago, my daughter was having one of her strong-willed, fitful moments, and my uncle said, like her mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother's mother, my grandmother. My grandmother was an incredible woman, widowed at a very young age with 4 young children to take care of. The youngest was just an infant. And yet she did it. She never remarried, did not have any help, and she held down 3 jobs. So my mother thought nothing of becoming an independent career woman and traveling all the way to the United States on a Fulbright scholarship to start her own career. A very demanding career, but never once did she think she would have to compromise by also having children. And sure enough, she fell in love, got married, I came along. Did that stop her? Not for a bit. She leaned in before that was even a thing. She took 1 month off from work after I was born. 1 month. And she did the same thing with my brother. How did she do it? My father wasn't much help. He was very old-fashioned. She came home to a second job of having to manage the household. But I am not at all proposing that we switch traditional gender roles. Rather, we need to think about family in a very different way. Specifically, how can we carve out in our busy lives, when we have both a full-time career and a family to care for, special family time that isn't just about doing chores together? Because when you look back on your life, that is the only thing that truly matters. What I'm saying here is that you did not go to graduate school so you can continue to clean your own toilets. If you don't have a job and you don't have any children, then by all means, keep cleaning your own toilet. But what I'm saying is that when those babies start coming along, how can you afford to have somebody else clean your own toilet, even though there is no money in the bank and you have $100,000 of student loans to pay off? Well, the key is to not be penny wise, pound foolish like I was. But at the same time, I'm not suggesting that you live like Downton Abbey and have an entire fleet of servants and butlers and drivers to be at your beck and call. Nothing like that at all. That's not what we need. What I'm proposing is very simple. And it fits into this model, this life cycle model of income, where we can't expect to be earning as much as we think we'll need, at least early on. And certainly all of us, when we went to grad school, were in the position of consuming significantly more than we were earning. When I had my first child, I had no job. My husband was in grad school, and we lived in a crappy little apartment. But we were happy. Nice apartments in really fancy neighborhoods are so overrated. We were happy in that little crappy apartment. Maybe all that you need is 5 hours a week of extra help at $10 an hour, or $50 a week, or $2,500 a year. Who's going to do those kinds of things for $10 an hour? TaskRabbit.com. It's the difference between making $50,000 versus $53,000. What I'm talking about is outsourcing all those things that you hate doing until your kids are old enough to do them for you. Outsourcing has a bad connotation. It's about taking a job from somebody else and giving it to someone else. That's no fun, but you're going to be job creators. You already are when you go to an auto mechanic to have him fix your car or her fix your car. When you go to an accountant to have them do your taxes. What kinds of things that you are perfectly capable of doing? I'm perfectly capable of doing my taxes, but I hate doing it, so I outsource it to someone else. What things do you hate doing that you would rather outsource? Maybe it's the handyman tasks in your apartment. Maybe it's gardening that you hate. Maybe it's doing the dishes that you hate. Maybe you love cleaning out your toilet but hate doing laundry. think about those things that you dislike doing and make the sacrifice of having somebody else do it. And don't forget date night. Somebody was asking me just before this presentation, yeah, it's fine to have all those things, but what about sex? How do you make time for sex? Let's call it love. Pay for a babysitter. Pay for a babysitter to have those date nights. It's cheaper than marital counseling and a lot cheaper than divorce. So I'm saying that you can have it all. You can have that life balance and think about your health and specifically your peace of mind. It's not a luxury to have someone clean your home. And we should not feel guilty about it even when there is no money in the bank. So I learned from my mother. She tried very much to have it all. It was hard on her because she did have a traditional marriage where much more was expected of her. But I've learned lessons from that, and she in turn helped me when I had my own children learn from her mistakes. It wasn't smooth. There was the day that I showed up to work with mismatched shoes. It was horrifying at the time, but now I can look back and laugh at it. So I muddled through, and I did get a little bit better with the second child. And I hope that my own daughter and my future grandchildren can learn from my mistakes and do a better job of making it all work like their mother, and their mother's mother, and their mother's mother, and their mother's mother's mother.